Brooke Fremouw here, certified trauma support specialist and adoptive mom to 11 children. Today, we're going to talk about why a child hits their mother. Ha! I know this was something I never dreamed would be an issue in our family or with my clients prior to being an adoptive mom. And after becoming an adoptive mom, I certainly recognize that children with trauma take those dysregulated bodies and brains of themselves and they put them onto others. So if you are a parent who has had verbal or physical aggression, this video is for you. One, we're going to talk about why. Why is it coming out in such aggressive, violent ways? And then 4 things that we can do to take a look at overcoming this abusive cycle in your household. You know how hard it is to be tasked with raising a kid? If you're a mom at all, you know that raising children is by far the hardest job description you will ever have. Now, raising children that are trauma exposed, as all adopted children are, regardless of the age that they came to you, they may have added post-birth trauma. They may have added medical traumas, right? They may have traumas because of their differences in the way in which the world looks at them, judges them, and messages them, right? And so these kiddos have a lot that they're going through. And oftentimes, what that leads to is something known as cumulative harm effect, which is when their body chemistry is fundamentally different. Their brain chemistry is fundamentally different. And if you've looked up the ACE studies done by Stanford initially, back in the late 1990s, then you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you're going to want to look that up. But why? Why do they attack us? There is one simple answer. And then we're going to talk about the 4 things you need to do to overcome the aggression. Okay. So with that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, shoot me a comment. It helps to make sure that other adoptive families that are pulling up looking for answers get these videos at the top. So thank you for doing that for me and for my channel. And here we go. What's the reason? If you follow me at all, you know the answer is control. Control. Our adopted children want more than anything else, not love, not acceptance, but control. And when they feel like their world is out of control, they're going to act out. They're going to try everything that they know in order to be able to overcome that and be in control. Some kids, they get super sweet or super needy in order to pull your attention, pull your affections, control that you are with them all the time and make them feel secure. And then there's the ones we're talking about today that are like, you know what? I'm in charge. I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm going to kick you. I'm going to bite you. I will be in charge of you. I will get my way by physically assaulting you. And if it's not you that they're attacking, it may be the house, right? They're the kid that goes and grabs the books off your shelf and starts ripping them right in front of your face. And you're like, whoa, why? What did that book do to you? Right? They'll exert authority. I had one of my clients' children literally wasn't getting what they wanted, which was control of the parent. The parent had turtled up, a term we use in Journey University. The parent had turtled up for safety's sake. And so the child literally turned the garden hose on and brought it in the house and started watering the house down in order. Why? To control what mom was doing, to get mom to stop turtling up and come out and engage. These kids, wow, when they're in that trauma mode and they're in the back of their brain called the amygdala, a lot's going on for them. A lot's going on. And they're not logical. This isn't the logical portion of the child that you know and love, right? This is that illogical emotional memory bank that they're tapping into. And they're literally functioning at a visceral level, at an animalistic level in order to try and get their needs met, their primary need in their own mind, because they haven't had a wiring that tells them otherwise, is that the only way that they can truly be safe is if they are in charge of themselves. Because when they trusted a parental figure to be there for them before, right, whether that was an in utero bond or whether this was trauma that took place afterwards, ultimately that parent figure left and they didn't have that to count on. And they don't want to be in that position again. So they're fighting for autonomy and control. Now that we understand why they're doing this. Let's look at what we can do, the steps in order to be able to overcome it. Now in Journey University, this is what we do. This is what we do. As parents, we come together. We have developed a system. I have developed a system where there are tools and systems that are implemented, both positive and negative reinforcements that come together in order to create and cultivate a system in the household that overcomes these aggressive behaviors with a ton of success. It takes a whole family in order to undo this coping mechanism that the kids have had. It's a maladaptive coping mechanism, right? But let's walk through it. The first thing that you need to do is decode the aggression. After you have decoded the aggression, you need to render that powerless. Then the third thing that you need to do is onboard healthy coping mechanisms. And then the fourth thing is reinforce those healthy coping mechanisms to the 100th degree so that the child gets more of what they want through compliance, through navigating those big feelings that they're having with healthy coping mechanisms than they ever did with the aggressive ones. Let's break those steps down. The first thing, decode. When your child says, I hate you, they're not saying, I hate you. What they're saying is there is so much pain from this relationship in this moment that I need distance from you. So I'm going to force that distance by insulting you. Or they're saying, I didn't get what I want, and I'm going to give you an old school temper tantrum to tell you how miserable I am and get you just as miserable as me. Misery loves company. There's always an underlying message. So what is that underlying message that you can decode from this specific aggressive incident that's in your mind right now? What is your child saying about themselves and about the expectation or the relationship that they have? A lot of the clients that are older that I work with, instead of the little people, but your tweens, oftentimes it's, I feel like a failure all the time. I feel like nobody likes me. I don't fit in. I am angry and I am hurt. And you are the one person that I can land that on. Wow. Ouch. So many levels, right? Got to decode what it is that your child is saying. After you've decoded it, you've got to render the behavior powerless and speak to what they're actually saying. So if the child is going to physically attack you and what they want is you to engage them back, well, then you cannot engage them back, right? The child's going to physically attack you and ultimately what they want is to get their way. Well, you certainly cannot give them their way. Whatever their motive is behind the aggression, we've got to deal with the motive and make sure that we are not paying it off, right? You'll see little kids go to that little kid playground scenario where you've got one kid who's like, I want that toy. And they hit the other kid, push him over, grab the toy and run away, right? If we allow that child to maintain possession of the toy, well, then the next time they're going to do the exact same behavior. And so as logical as this sounds, you got to get the decoding right in order to make sure you're not doing the reinforcing of the behavior, right? Oftentimes, what does the child simply want? Your attention, undivided attention, you upset, you hurt. That's what they're looking for. So you can't give them upset. You can't give them hurt. You can't give them the attention. Because when you do that, you're reinforcing the behavior. I had a child that it took me forever before I finally lost my cool. She was aggressive. She was all over the place with her behaviors, threw things, said things, did things, eggshells in the house. This is why I went into the trauma-informed care field, because I couldn't figure her out. Everything they did was biting me back. It didn't work, right? I remember the first time I actually lost my cool. We were months into her coming into our family. And I lost my cool and I was like, right, this is I'm asking something so simple. Please just do it. I can't. Not right now. I need you to just get it together and be kind and listen to me. She went from being so mad because, of course, she was fighting, right? She smiled. She smiled like, look. And then after she smiled, do you know what she said to me? I think that you need to use a calmer voice and get control of your body. She wasn't wrong. And yet, what does it tell you about the payoff that she got? She was finally right. I had finally fallen. And now she was in charge. She was satisfied because she got what she had wanted all along, which was the ability to control how I felt. Ouch. Wow. So we've got to render it powerless. That means us as parents, we've got to show up in self control. We've got to say, you know what? This behavior is about you. It's not about me. This attitude, these words, these actions, this temper tantrum, whatever it is, this manipulation about what work you have to do. I'm not going to add it to the pile of work I have to do. We've got to figure out how to emotionally disconnect. Again, something we do in Journey University. We've got to be able to separate from that. And so, rendering it powerless, don't let your children decide for you how you're going to feel and how you're going to show up in your day. Whether your day is good or bad is not decided by your child. Third, once we get our children to where they've got some body regulation and we're undoing cumulative harm effect, the next step is that we've got to onboard some healthy coping mechanisms, because all behavior is a form of communication. And what your child is communicating to you in those moments, they're doing through action. And if we don't give them a way to tap into their prefrontal cortex, their thinking brain, and give them the appropriate mechanisms to be able to communicate their needs in healthy ways, well, then you're going to end up with a very, very frustrated child who's trying to overcome behaviors. And you, as a very frustrated parent, aren't going to get anywhere with them. So we've got to give them the coping skills, build their toolbox with body regulation and communication tool sets. The fourth thing that we need to look at is a reinforcer. When your children are getting it and communicating in appropriate ways, man, oh man, what is their desired thing? Because that's the point where you go back to number one and you decode, and what are they looking for? Power. What are they looking for? To get their way. They don't want to shut the TV off, and that's where the temper tantrum came from. Whatever those things are, right? So now we've got to look back at number one and go, what is the thing that they want the most? Give it to them, because they're doing it in an appropriate way, and give it to them overboard in the beginning so that that behavior is reinforced. Now, let's summarize. Why is your child being aggressive? Because they want control. They want control. And once we identify why, we need to go through these 4 steps. We need to decode what it is that they really want, right? What are they really saying? Number 2, we need to render their behavior that is maladaptive powerless to getting what it is that they want. Number 3, we need to onboard coping mechanisms, both body regulation and communication coping mechanisms. And number 4, reinforce the positive with what it is you decoded in number 1. I hope that this makes sense to you. I know the application of this, that's, we spend several months getting on the other side of this through Journey University. It's not a simple application, but you've got to have a map to get you to where you're wanting to go in order to neutralize these behaviors. I hope that that helped you. If you need more information on how to join Journey University, please find me on Facebook. Go to thetraumamama.com to schedule your free strategy call, or check out the description here in the YouTube video, and there's a lot more information on how you can connect with me. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.